lot of research on this alien UFO ET thing. So I've made statements in the past, and I'm not going to change anything in any extreme way. I'm just going to make a much more clear statement about where I stand and my strategy of studies as well as my strategy of life and looking ahead to the future for myself and humanity. But before we go into that, I want to mention what's happened today within the past few hours in San Francisco, California at the International Airport over there, which is right near to the bay. And what happened is apparently a landing. There was a Boeing 777 coming in, owned by Asiana, and it's coming in from South Korea, and it basically had a crash landing. I don't know the cause of the accident, but one of the first things that they mention happening is that the tail broke off, the entire tail section, and the landing gear collapsed as the plane touched down, and scraping the fuselage, it spun around, caught on fire, and the entire body is burnt out, where the roof is not even on it anymore. They contained everything, but people were able to get out, and we're hearing about some casualties, and 1 or 2 deaths are confirmed at this point. Okay, so that's the news. Now the terrible tragedy. I just want to mention in connection with that, there was a terrible accident with a train, apparently a cargo or freight train that derailed within the past 12 hours in Quebec. So I believe it was in the nighttime, and this was carrying some kind of oil or diesel, and this exploded, this caught on fire, and the entire area and a nearby town had to be evacuated. So we have 2 accidents that happened, so we'll look into more details of that if we're interested. Now let's talk about the overall picture, as I said, about the alien agenda that is being pushed now as part of the New Age, as part of people's expanding consciousness. Let's just put it that way. Because that's not determining whether it's right or wrong. We're just saying that there is a type of activity that's happening. So expansion of consciousness is not necessarily something that's bad, but it certainly can be, because it's like Pandora's box. It just all of a sudden expands to these new ideas and a broader mindset, and it could bring in a lot of chaos and new problems. So that's what I'm going to suggest. But here I'm going to make a clear statement about any of this information they keep pushing and they keep selling. That's one of the first key things, is that all of these people are in business. They're making money off of you. Or if you are one of them, you're making money off of your customers. Anyone who's your viewer, a fan, someone affiliated with what you do. You're either selling events, which are lectures, conferences, workshops, or personal services where you're doing channeled readings or cleansings, exorcism, this type of thing. And also there's product line, which is really, I think, the main whereas it used to be all books or cassette tapes, DVDs now, all kinds of multimedia material that they put out. And there's even memberships on websites online, and that's making the money. So there are various other things that they use to merchandise this stuff. Merchandising is the name of the game. So a lot of people are not going to like this, because if I tell you the truth, it's going to wreck their business. And I understand that I'm going against this resistance. Also, people are not going to like it if they're fans, because they feel protective of the thing that they love. And in fact, I find that, especially when I do a critique on Alex Jones. I just exposed him on a simple basis, and most people that are responding to me are negative, and they don't even hear anything. They didn't listen to what I said. They just got the sense that I'm against Alex Jones, and they're just already attacking. And it can even go the opposite way, that they're someone who wants to attack Alex Jones, and they come there and they're like, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it has nothing to do with what I said about Alex Jones. It's just their knee-jerk comment that they'll spread around every day. They're looking for something against Alex Jones, and they'll come and they'll type the same thing. You know, these people are one-dimensional. They don't know what they're doing. In fact, they're probably shills. So they want to chime in on my video. Well, you didn't listen to my video. If you listened to my video, you would talk about the content. But I don't censor, I allow all of it so that I can tell you, this is what happens. I have the proof, I just leave it right there. I mean, the thing is, if you go through my channel, almost 4,800 videos now on multiple channels. I got 65 channels, 36 main ones, and the very top ones, almost 10 channels, and this one being really the main one at this time. So millions of words and ideas just strewn out on my videos and my channels. And if you read it, it's a study in itself of the reaction to what I'm doing and what I'm talking about, even though it's just about the topic. It's not about what I said about the topic, it's about the topic. And they just have to blurt out something. Doesn't happen on this video also. But if you really want to get into my videos, you need to listen to the whole thing. And people always, oh, I can't listen to you, he has long videos. Yeah, actually, I have the longest video in the world. But my average video, when I'm talking about a subject, I'm analyzing, I'm disassembling it, it takes anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes average. We need to lengthen our attention span. I don't know what you're doing out there. Cutting the lawn or chewing gum? Probably. Driving around in circles because you got gas to waste. Yeah, you can give another 5 more minutes if you want to learn something. But here's the thing. Here's my clear statement. I just see a lot of danger in the embrace of the extraterrestrials, what they want to call extraterrestrials. Because we are creating a whole culture, a scientific culture or a pseudo-scientific culture, where we have this attitude framed by extraterrestrial theme. But here's the kicker, there's no proof of anything. There really isn't. There's no proof of UFOs or what UFOs are. And if they do, if the government suddenly announces something, you know what? No one's going to believe the government anyhow. Do you believe the government when the guy says, I didn't have sex with that woman? Or we're not spying on you? Or we're looking out for your best interests? Do you believe the government anymore? Does the government believe itself? No, it's sitting there like Gollum. You see that movie with Lord of the Rings and now The Hobbit? It's like a guy talking to himself. On one side he's like, you murderer. And the other one's like, leave me alone. That's the government. It can't even trust its own self. One guy's working there in the office, and the other guy's working there over his shoulder, steps out of the room, then another guy comes in with a knife. Who told him to do that? Oh, it's the other guy looking over his shoulder. You know, the government can't even trust its own self. So there's people going around now saying, well, we need the government to admit the truth. How in the heck is the government going to admit the truth when they got no basis of credibility left? No, we need it to come from somewhere else. Maybe yours truly. I'm about the most honest man that I can think of. I actually published that little statement in my one of my first books. It said 1999, started in 2012. That was the subtitle. But anyhow, I'm not going to toot my own horn. What I'm going to say is that extraterrestrials and UFOs really don't have any proof. We're dumping infinite amount of energy. It's an energy drain into this black hole of a fairy tale. People talk about abduction. Well, how do you know what that was that happened to you? What, did it really physically happen to you? Or could it possibly be that you were drugged up, you were taken away, you were hypnotized, they abused you? It could have been some force out there, human-based, human or demonically possessed, or it could be just the government scientific experiments where they don't give a crap about your rights. They'll just abduct you and take you for whatever experiment they want to do. How do you know that's an abduction from an alien? You remember something, and then someone wants to come along later. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And someone wants to come along and question you and prompt you. Oh, what did you remember? Oh, maybe that was the alien. Oh, you know, very misleading, because in the first place, the person's a victim, and they're calling out for help. So that's a whole psychological complex right there. How did they get into that position? I'm not a victim complex. I gave that up. If I ever had that, I looked at it and I said, that's not me. That's not normal. By the way, I grew up with psychiatrists, so I know about these things. I'm very familiar. And I know the tricks they play. They want to tell you, you know, they'll magnify anything if it's going to give them a new client. And that's like what I said before. These people have a business and they don't want it to be exposed. They don't want it to be taken apart because they're going to lose money. And that's what I do. Because I don't care who loses money. Well, you know, I don't go out there and do anything foolish. Look at a few of my previous videos. I don't cross certain lines. But I will tell you in this here, I'm going to say other evidence that I'm using, the other basis of my philosophy is that all the UFO pictures, photos, illustrations, video, you know, now all this digital stuff they put out right away onto the internet, it's all fake. All of it can be faked. All of it. And I don't appreciate the games. If you want to live in some distorted reality, then that's your choice, and that's all you'll have. but I need clear-cut, crisp reality as a foundation for life. I put imagination somewhere else, and you can get out the imagination. It's like a toy. But you don't play with the toy all the time. It's like 24/7 vibrator. Gotta have it. Oh, I'm addicted to that. No. The toy goes on the shelf, and it's only for certain times. Yeah, idle time, or, I've done all my work. Then you structure it that way. Because reality needs a solid foundation, and imagination has no part in it. See if you can understand what I mean, if you're a disciplined student of truth. Because I am one of the few out there. I can even give anyone else a litmus test, and I find a lot of BS, a lot of horse shit, donkey shit, whatever shit you want to call it. No offense to any one of the animals. And no offense to the plants that grow in the manure. But anyhow, it's a figure of speech. Let's talk now about why I think all the pictures in the videos are just fake, okay? I'm going to compare it to Bigfoot. I'm going to compare it to the abominable snowman. I'm going to compare it to... what else do they have? They also call it Sasquatch, Chupacabra, something a little bit newer. All of this is just like magic tricks. And if you realize, back in the days, we used to have alchemy before we had chemistry, and alchemy was connected with magic. Magic used to have a meaning of something that they were doing with the material world and influencing it through energies. And magic involves a very disciplined process to gain these, incredible phenomenon. And magicians were also on a psychological level. But people began to hate that, and usually the people that hate that are the ones that are getting exposed. I mean, it's exactly what happened to Yeshua, Jesus Christ, and on one level of that whole drama. The people make this backlash, because if they get exposed and the magician, is able to conjure this phenomenon, the people don't like it. And what happened was, the original meaning of magic took on the new definition, which was sleight of hand. And that's what Penn and Teller does. And that's why those guys are like really kind of stupid, like myth debunkers, this and that. They're atheists, by the way. At least Gillette Penn is. Penn. Yeah, Teller doesn't talk much, and I don't even know where he stands. But that's just an example of magicians, illusionists. They're all delusionists. They live in a totally materialistic world. And that's the favorite place for all this ET UFO stuff, because it's purely materialistic. It has almost nothing to do with spirituality. And as you know, if you watch enough of my videos, spirituality is the true non-physical basis for the whole world. That's what spirit is, spirituality. So if you want to know really what's going on, and you want to understand reality, you have to go behind the scenes. And that's what you go for, a spiritual level of things. That's what I specialize in. And people say, oh, that's hogwash. Well, see, that's the thing. If you really knew what I knew, you wouldn't say that. You would be like, wow, I'm blown away by, the reality. That's the matrix of the fabric of the universe. It's spiritual. You can't see it, you can't test it. It's not just material, physical form. But what a magician will do, or an illusionist, or someone who believes in extraterrestrials, they'll want to believe in anything that's just physically based. It's purely physically based. But here is the greatest danger in this nonsense, is when they try to blend over into the spiritual realm. They do that. A lot of them do that, and they try to say, well, this is a spiritual basis. And you've heard the comparison. Here's the rub. Extraterrestrials They're actually angels, see? Because all this angelology we have, and mostly coming from the Bible or other writings, and from other cultures that don't have like large followings now, like the Babylonians or the Sumerians, or I mean, you know, all the other ones that they're always tossing around out there, all these other ancient cultures that nobody really knows anything about because they're dead. And then they bring it up and see they had angels, and see what it was. See this stone inscription? That's an ancient astronaut. And this one here, that's an angel, but they're the same thing. So they'll do this mix and match thing, and they'll want you to believe that, and then they'll blend it over, because that was spiritual. See, when they talked about angels and Ezekiel's craft coming down, you know, that was definitely a UFO. Well, maybe. You know, I'm going to be open-minded, but here's the point. Just because something is remotely probable, and you can't close your mind off of it, just because you'll find a few instances that need to really be studied, that doesn't make the whole gamut true. That would give you like 1% to 5% that is worth considering and trying to see how it fits into reality, rather than saying all this whole 95 to 99% of this garbage they keep pumping out there is worth anybody's time. But yet you'll have these people that just feed on it. It's like, give me more. Oh, today something else came up. Oh, yeah, it's all true. Actually, almost none of it is true. These are magic tricks. Nobody believes in a magic trick. It's just somebody pulling a fast one on you. Be careful when you're playing card games, even in Vegas. The games are all rigged. And remember something, the house always wins. If the house wasn't winning, would there be a casino to come back to? I mean, really think about it. You know, if the lottery wasn't rigged, would the state still be running lotto? No, they couldn't actually. So they always keep the money. But see, gambling is another delusion. I don't want to make an analogy that extraterrestrial and ufology and all that stuff is gambling. I mean, it's an addiction, is what it is. Like I said, give me a bigger spoon, you know. I saw another UFO photo. Now I want to mention Billy Meyer. I don't like Billy Meyer. This guy is a German-speaking guy or whatever, and he's in Switzerland. He's a fraud. I believe he's putting out some information that's true, but that's what's always done. Okay, I accept that. But the bulk of it, the real gist of what he's trying to put out there is fraud, and he's a liar. He doesn't want to talk to people now. Of course he doesn't. You know why? He can't face the public. He can't face anyone. He's got to be specially, you know, connected with anyone who just is in on the take with him about promoting these lies. I don't know who put him up to it. I haven't really dug into it that far. I don't know whether it's some secret government op. It could be. It very well could be. A lot of this could be from some organized conspiracy. Yeah. It's definitely, I will tell you right now, you know what a conspiracy theory is already. Make sure you know, like, what's the definition of it, so you don't believe in some, like, ridiculous connotation of a conspiracy theory. The conspiracy theory that I present is this. It's a collective mindset now that is conspiring to make the whole world believe that extraterrestrial involvement is necessary, and that we need to believe that it's always been going on, and we need to believe that that's what developed our humanity, and, you know, that's what developed our technology. How could we have all these things in the past 100 years? It's all trying to get attributed. They're trying to get it attributed to extraterrestrials. It's this unseen thing that you have little context with, or little 2-second videos of it. There they are. And we're going to attribute everything of civilization, everything, to extraterrestrials, UFOs, aliens. Good or bad? Well, like, they're not good or bad, they're just from another planet. Kind of thing. Blur, like gray. See, that's why they call them grays. Gray. It's this big gray area. There's no right or wrong. There's no special place for the Earth. Okay, first of all, we haven't been to any other planets. They say we've been to the moon. I have some serious doubts about that it wasn't just totally staged. Because here's the thing. Like I said, with the UFO photos and videos, it's magic tricks. You can do anything with the camera. Let me tell you something, and I've been in this game for a while. I've been in this since the 1970s into the early 80s. Okay, so that dates me. You count the amount of years. My grandfather got me into it. He knew Edward Wood, the strange director, Plan 9 from outer space. My father knew him. They grew up together. Edward Wood Jr. Look him up. So my grandfather got me into film. He's passed away a long time ago now, but my grandfather got me into that, and I had my first camera as an 8mm, and then I got a Super 8. They changed the technology a little bit, and then they could have like sound on it. Super 8 enabled you for an audio track. So this is all celluloid, but I know just any kind of trick you can do with film. Look at Hollywood. So we got this mishmash going on. Yeah, I saw this in Hollywood. Yeah, I saw E.T. Yeah, I saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind before that. I actually saw it. I saw it during its first release. I was taken to a drive-in theater with my parents. I saw the movie. So we got this mishmash now, where you got, this thing behind Devil's Tower. Devil's Tower. Isn't it interesting, Steven Spielberg? And by the way, folks, you look me up, you do the research. I've worked with Steven Spielberg. So I've been in his presence, and I, felt his energy on the project. I'm an empath, and I'm telepathic as well. So I gained a few things by this close contact. I had close encounters with Steven Spielberg, you could say, and George Lucas. But the thing about these guys is they're in on this conspiracy that I'm talking about right now, and most of it's done with the tools of the trade. Cameras making videos, cameras making photos, huge blockbuster films also, and people writing things down, scripts, and writing down books and making a bunch of money on it. And they're pushing this, and they don't want you to know what I'm telling you. They don't want you to know. And in fact, you have resistance of listening to me. You're blocking it out because you are in this mishmash of these great movies. War of the Worlds. By the way, I was in War of the Worlds. They cut my scene out. I had a nice close-up cameo with me, yours truly. They cut it out. Somebody doesn't like me in Paramount. But anyhow, you can go in their archive vaults. They save the stuff. Eventually it will come out. But I was in there in different scenes, not a close-up. I was in there for several scenes in any case. But if you realize that it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and not only that, it's being used to milk it for power. All these people that are pushing this and want us to live in a delusion, the collective consciousness of stupidity. I'm going to leave you with this, because this is a huge, epic rant that I'm doing to expose this thing. And I want to give you something to conclude this. We don't have any other planets to go to. Okay? Please listen to me if you've gotten this far. I'm going to continue doing it, my series to expose things, to bring you the truth, and I'm working on what I'm working on. I also have a religion without a name. And I only want people that have really been waking up. I don't know how much a video can do that. I think you have to take most of the credit for how you lead your life and how you figured out things on your own. I can't do it for you, and I don't want that. I don't want people like that to come to me. You know, I have to take somebody on their own merit. I can't have independence of people that are going to drag down the movement. So here's the thing I want to leave you with, because we don't have anywhere else to go. We can't go anywhere else. We're not going to. We have to deal with the planet. The planet's in full-scale destructive mode right now. We're in the middle of a major global crisis. And I don't need some scientists working for politicians to tell me that. I can see that myself. I see that. I'm not believing any agenda. I just see reality. I look around, I feel the vibes of the people, the cities, the toxics, the pollutions. I know that that's going on. I feel it personally sometimes, and I have to protect myself. I have to do disciplines and have various rules to protect the life. God willing. G-O-D. Praise Jah, Yah, Yahweh, Yah, whatever you want to call it, Allah, Krishna, Atma, Buddha, Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu. Whatever you want to call it. There's various different perspectives on what it is. But we don't have anywhere else to go, folks. And the more that we give in to this ET agenda, this false doctrine put out by false prophets, the more we're going to think it's okay to trash the only world that we have. That's what's going on. And I know that it's been enabled because of this conspiracy. This may be one of the main conspiracies that gets together. There's a whole system that is working against truth, and I've just identified one of the main ones for you. Please make your comments. Please share this with everybody so people can get help waking up. I know they want to do it, but there's very few videos like this out there where I just take the whole thing apart. I just make it real clear for you. I just did it. I don't know how much more I can do, but put your comments, favorite this, thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching.